Out of the book of Maccabees. Don't worry, we're going to continue our 365-day study of Hebraic lecture and learning at this seminar. But this is the original Maccabees Bible with Psalms 151 with a new preface by Reverend Roderick M. McLean. No relation to Max McLean. PhD. Well, I wouldn't. Hell, I wouldn't know. This is the McNeely tribe. We wrote it in. The original Maccabees Bible, published by Research Associates School Times Publications. Good job. Chicago, Jamaica, London, Republic of Trinidad and Tobago should know about this book. And then it says it's distributed by Illinois. Is there any salvation in Illinois? All right. The original Maccabees, the book of Maccabee, introduction. It has first Maccabees, second Maccabees, third Maccabees, Psalm 151, fourth Maccabees, and that's it. And I was reading Eleazar from, was it third Maccabees, number 6? Let me see. See if I can find it. Oh, I should be saving these. I should be saving these. Hold on. I was in chapter 6. Oh, Eleazar. Here we go. Eleazar's amazing bravery under torture. So first and second Maccabees talks about the timeline of the events, and third and fourth talks about the people and more in depth on the story versus the chronology. All right. So that's the difference. It's the same stories written into 4 different books. It's a different style, and I would say it's all factual, all real. And third and fourth is going to get you stirred up. First and second is going to get you stirred up against the people, so you know who your enemies are, who to fight against. All right. First and second is the military. Third and fourth is to rile you up for battle. Be careful about third and fourth, unless you want to get angry. You better know who it's talking about, and you'll find that in first and second. Okay, give me a second. We are in 4th Maccabees chapter 6, Eleazar's amazing bravery under torture. After Eleazar responded so eloquently to the tyrant's exhortations, then the guards who stood around dragged him roughly to the implements of torture. First they stripped off the old man's clothes, though he was still adorned with the beauty of his piety. Then, binding his arms on either side, they scourged him with whips, while right up against him a herald shouted, "Obey the king's command!" But the great souled and noble man, a true Eleazar, refused absolutely to recant, as if the torture were no more than a dream. And keeping his eyes raised aloft to Shemaim, the old man let his flesh be torn by the scourges until his blood ran freely and his sides were lacerated. He fell to the ground when his body could no longer endure the pain, but his reason he kept erect and inflexible. With his foot one of the mercilessly with his foot one of the merciless guards kicked him savagely on the side to make him get up as he fell, but he suffered the torment and scorned the compulsion and overcame the pains, and under a hail of blows the old man, like a true athlete, prevailed over his torturers. His face beaded with sweat and panting heavily, he roused his very torturers to amazement at his fortitude. He roused his very torturers to amazement at his fortitude. Thereupon, 12 and 13, thereupon, partly out of pity for his old age, partly in sympathy through previous friendship, partly in admiration of his courage, some of the king's courtiers went up to him and said, "Why, Eleazar, are you so unreasonably destroying yourself in this foul way? Let us bring you some of the cooked food, and you pretend to taste of the swine's flesh and save yourself." But as if their counsel only made his wounds all the harder to bear, Eleazar cried aloud, "Never may the children of Abraham think such evil thoughts as out of cowardice to enact a part so ill becoming to us. It would most surely be contrary to reason if, having lived our lives in accordance with the truth, you know what? If he would have ate that and faked like he ate it but never did it, the story would have went like this. And Eleazar, after all of that ass whooping, said the pain was too hard and he ate most of the meat. Most of the pig eat, the chitlins, the pig's feet, man, the pigtails, he ate it all. The guts turned it into goddamn sausage and hot dogs, and he ate that on a Frankfurt burger. And that's the end of Eleazar's story. All that ass whooping for him to eat the swine. That's how they're gonna twist it. If he would have faked like he did it, you know, those Euro Gentiles would have twisted the story to where he ate it. And we would have thought today that all of that ass whooping and Eleazar died, and he probably still died after eating it. You know, after eating it, after it had been eaten. So I'm glad Eleazar was smart, a smart man, a righteous man is a smart man, smart enough to know I can't even fake like I'm gonna eat it so I could save myself, even though I'm not eating it. What was it? See, Gentile would say, well, what's wrong with that, faking it? Because fake never works, and y'all would have took that and slandered this man, and even when he went through all of this suffering to not eat it. If he would have faked it to save himself in that last 2 seconds, God would have turned his back on this man, and so would I. Don't you eat it, Eleazar. There's real niggas like us, we wouldn't have ate it. Don't you eat it. And Lord, test me on this. Test me. Even though I ate swine today, God, that's the devil. He tricked me. He tricked me. He got me. But now that I know better, y'all, I'ma save myself. I'ma help myself. I'ma improve my own health. I'm not gonna listen to the next man. I know it's wrong to eat swine, and I would never eat bacon. I would never eat pork because of this. Y'all can eat it. I hope it tastes great to y'all. I hope it tastes really good, better than cake. All right, with icing. I hope it tastes real good when you eat swine, because judgment is sweeter. Out of cowardice to enact a part so ill becoming to us, it would most surely be contrary to reason if, having lived our lives in accordance with the truth, right up to our age, and having preserved our truth, and having preserved our fair reputation for so living in conformity with the law, we should now change and ourselves become a model of impiety to the young by setting them an example of eating unclean food? Shameful would it be if we should, with only a very short space of life left to us, become a laughing stock in the eyes of all of our cowardice, and be despised by the tyrant as craven because we would not champion our divine law to the death. See, he knew the evils of these so-called white men, that if he would have faked and ate it, then the whole time of fighting, this man was at it all. It would have been over. He would have said, see, this guy's nothing. He would have been despised, a laughing stock in the eyes of all for our cowardice. And see, these Gentiles are cowards. They want you to always take the coward way out, and they don't see no wrong in being a yellow belly coward. There is wrong in turning your back in flight. That means your woman is mine. As craven because we will not champion our divine law to death. I'm a champion my divine law. Our law is divinity. Their law is filth, garbage, muck and swaller, blood and filth and spit and disgusting abhorrities from Yah. Nothing but obscenities from God. He has nothing to do to them, say to them, except judgment. Our law is divine, holy, consecrated, separated, clean, undefiled, sanctified, unadulterated, washed, made white. Our law is righteous. It is divine. They don't have what black people so-called have. They don't have what the Israelites have. And every Israelite you see out there, understand he knows the divinity law. Look at him in his eyes. He looking at you. Y'all speak in volumes. You know you ain't supposed to be doing something you ain't supposed to be doing. Every Negro has that plumb line. of righteous versus not righteous. A nigga would tell me when he do a crime that he knew he was wrong, not against the white man's law, so-called, but against God's moral law. A nigga will come back, or the hardest gangsters will come back and tell me they know they was wrong for what they did. The so-called white man will not, because he is a devil. As craven, because we would not champion our divine law to the death. Therefore, O children of Abraham, children of everybody, children of Abraham, a very small few who I'm talking to. This ain't for everybody. This is only for the ones in this group, in this membership. This is only for those who are in the membership of Abraham. Do you have your Abraham membership? Well, this is for you. If you don't and you're listening, to hell with you. O children of Abraham, you must die nobly for piety's sake. And you guards of the tyrant, why leave off your work? When they saw him so high in spirit, in the face of such constraints, and so adamant against their offer of mercy, they brought him to the fire. They said, man, we ain't got nothing else to do with this nigga. Let's burn him up. Let's kill him. There they burned him with cunningly devised instruments and threw him in the fire. Remember now, this is before Christ. So what faith do they have? The faith of Moses and God. There they burned him with cunningly devised instruments. Sounds familiar? Cunningly devised instruments and threw him in the fire. So their inventions are inventions of war, instruments of war. Our inventions are instruments of internet, GPS, connecting people. We made the internet so we could connect to other Israelites scattered abroad in the diaspora. She'ereth, a remnant. There they burned him with cunningly devised instruments and threw him in the fire and poured an evil-smelling concoction into his nostrils. Wow. Mind you now, he's bound hand and foot. And so next time you in jail, God forbid, and you bound and you feel like this ain't right, it ain't right. God is going to kill your captors. Poured an evil-smelling concoction into his nostrils, and we don't know what that is, but it was evil-smelling. And when his flesh had been burned away to the very bones, damn, and he was on the point of expiring, he lifted his eyes to Yahweh and said, you know, O Yahweh, that though I could have saved myself, I am dying in these fiery torments for the sake of the law. Be merciful to your people, and let our punishment be a satisfaction on their behalf. Make my blood their purification, and take my life as a ransom for theirs. With these words, the holy man nobly succumbed to his torments, and by his reason held his ground through the very tortures of death for the law's sake. 31:32. Confessedly then, devout reason is master of the passions. For if the passions were sovereign over reason, I would have credited them with the testimony to their superiority. Reason is master over passion. Superiority. But since we have just shown how reason conquers the passions, we properly confer upon it the authority of leadership. It is only right that we should confess reason's sovereignty insofar as it rules over torments inflicted on us from outside ourselves. It would be absurd to do otherwise. The arguments I adduce demonstrate wisdom's actual sovereignty, not only over pains, but its ruler over pleasure, and its complete refusal to yield. Chapter 7. A panegyric on Eleazar. Panegyric, I don't know, some white archaeological big term that they don't. Let me tell you something. When you talk to white people today, so-called, Their kids don't even care about these dictionary terms. You be trying to be all correct. They just want to hear themselves speak it. They don't care about what it actually means. You figured that out about them yet? They'll teach you what they think all day. As soon as you try to come back and tell them and add to it or take away from it or anything with the term, right? They don't care. Laugh you to scorn. So I'm done with these words. I'm not trying to, if it ain't made for me to understand, to hell with it. They just doing that. This sounds smart, but are any of their children using these words they created? I'll say it again. A panegyric, Panegyric on Eleazar. Why they can't just say an excerpt or something said outside of Eleazar about Eleazar, basically. Like an outstanding pilot, indeed, the reason of our father Eleazar steering the vessel of piety on the seas of passion, though buffeted by the threats of the tyrant and swamped by the swelling waves of torture, in no way swerved the rudder of piety until he sailed into the haven of deathless victory. No city beleaguered by many devices of all kinds has ever offered such resistance as did the perfect saint, as did that of Eleazar, the perfect saint. When his sacred soul was assailed with blazing rack and torture, through reason, the shield of his piety, he overcame his besiegers, stretching out. I always thought how I would die. Would I die like Eleazar, giving up the spirit, not yielding to these heathens' requests to bow down, not even in nature of heart or words? Soulless words they want you to say. How would I die beautifully for my Yah? Would I die like the Assyrians would had to the Israelites by staking them through their anus, right? Big ass stakes sharpened like a pencil, and they throw you down there anus first? Would I die like Isaiah? Would I die like Isaiah by the Babylonians, or maybe the other Judeans? Saw put in a hollow tree and sawed in half alive until that saw cut enough of his flesh and spine and stomach and diaphragm until he could not even remain consciously alive? Would I die like Christ and so many other Judeans in that time of Rome, 70, or before 70 AD, up until then and a little bit after, being staked to the cross through my wrist bone? Not even through my hands, through my wrist bone, set up there on my own weight, with no pain medication, no ibuprofen, no IV, okay, no anesthesia, no anesthetizing, right? Nothing to numb it, just pain upon greater pain in waves, and you don't know when you're dying because you never died before. Will I die like that, or will I die being hung today in a later day, being shot in the back by my own right? Today they just shoot you, and the torture is prison time and homosexuality. Oh, Israel. Oh, Israel. The shield of his piety, he overcame his besiegers, stretching out his mind like a protruding cliff. Our father Eleazar shattered the wild surges of his passion. Eleazar means power, God, heap of stone, mountain, help of God. Eleazar, God is my help, or help of my God, and justly so. O priests, Kohanim, O Kohen, worthy of your priestly office, you did not, Salaki, O priests, worthy of your priestly office, you did not defile your sacred teeth, nor did you pollute with unclean food. I have a stomach that had no that had room only for piety and purity. O mind in perfect unison with the law, Torah, and philosopher of the divine life. So must all those who are skilled in the craft of keeping the law, Torah, and who defend it with their own blood and noble sweat, even in the face of sufferings unto death. You, Father, by endurance that brought you to glory, have a confirmed Salaki. You, Father, by endurance that brought you to glory, have confirmed our adherence to the law, Torah, and your august speech on holiness you have not annulled, but through your deeds you have ratified your words of divine philosophy. Chapter 7, verse 10. O aged man, mightier than torture, revered elder, more vigorous than the flame, great king, ruler of the passions, Eleazar, even as our father Eharon, armed with the censer, ran through the massed company of his people and overcame the fiery angel. So did Aaron's descendant Eleazar not deviate in his reason, though consumed in the fire. But most wonderful of all, though he was an old man, and the sinews of his body were already unstrung, his muscles all relaxed, and his nerves weakened, by means of reason he became youthful again in spirit, and by reason like Yitzhak's prevail over many-headed torture. O blessed old age, revered gray head, life level to the law, and perfected by the faithfulness seal of death. It therefore an old man despised torments unto the death on account of his piety. We must admit that devout reason is leader over the passions. What did they call it? Passion of the Christ. But some may contend that not all men are masters of the passions, because not all men possess enlightened reason. And I'll say amen to that. Even so, only those who with all their heart make piety their first concern are able to conquer the passions of the flesh. So this is telling you there's certain men born to this world to die, most of them, and there's certain men, 144,000, that are born to reason. And I'll say it again. We must admit that devout reason is leader over the passion, but some may contend that not all men are masters of the passion, because not all men possess enlightened reason. Only those who with all their hearts make piety their first concern. So we are pious men, 144,000. Somebody got to control. Somebody got to run the world after the artisans and politicians and leaders of this demonic life is over. We need to keep it going as far as the good things. The knowledge from the other world, we have to carry that over to what not to ever be like again. If therefore an old man despise torment unto the death on account of his piety, we must admit that devout reason is leader over the passions, but some may contend that not all men are masters of the passions, because not all men possess enlightened reason. Only those who with all their heart make piety their first concern from birth, my nigga, are able to conquer the passions of the flesh, believing that to Yahweh they do not die. First concern are able to only those who with all their heart make piety their first concern are able to only those who with all their heart make piety their first concern are able to conquer the passions of the flesh, believing that to Yahweh they do not die, as our patriarchs Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov died not, but lived to Yahweh. Accordingly to the validity of our argument, is not impaired by the fact that some men seem to be ruled by their passions because of the weakness of their reason. See, you men are weak. For what philosopher is there who lives by the whole rule for philosophy, and believes in God, and knows that it is blessed to endure every pain for the sake of virtue? Who could fail to master his passions for the sake of piety? Only the wise and courageous man is ruler of the passions. 4th Maccabees chapter 8, the king's invitation to the 7 brothers to recant their ancestral faith and eat swine. And we'll get to that next time. But this was 4th Maccabees chapter 7. Eleazar. Oh, chapter 6. 6 and 7. Eleazar, my boy. This for you, man. Shout out to you. Love you, bro.
What are you doing today? I miss you. Bye.